What's going on, guys? In this video, I want to talk a little bit about how we can spot the trend. Now, as day traders, sometimes it gets hard, especially when you're scalping, because when you're scalping, you're looking at levels on a very small time frame, and you're realistically, you're trying to go long, you're trying to go short, maybe you're anticipating a breakout, a breakdown, and I know from experience, it becomes very, very difficult to try to stay with the momentum and actually trust the price action that we're looking at in our charts. So if you kind of look at what was going on right out of the gates, and on the right hand side we're looking at a 5-minute time frame, on the left hand side we're looking at my bias time frame, the 15-minute chart, and you can see right off the open we had a huge spike, a spike that ran all the way into our daily 5 SMA, was actually became our initial balance high as well. And then we had this big dramatic sell-off. Now, very, very hard to kind of trade this price action because the ranges were big, 40, 50 points at a time. Even if you closed your eyes and got in long off that opening rip, it was very hard to kind of trust that move. And I took no part in any of this long position. Wish that I could tell you guys that I got in right over those pre-market highs, which I didn't, right? So I kind of waited for price action to settle down a little bit, and you can see right about here, as we were approaching this daily 5 SMA, finally get our first red candle close, and then I'm looking at this level here. So I'm looking at this candle and I'm looking at this candle, and if I kind of match up those two lows, we've got a little bit of a structure. And if I match up the highs, we're creating a little bit of a trend. A little bit of a channel. So I'm trying to see if we're going to develop a trend to the upside for a potential breakout, or this is going to fall back down into our daily 10 or our pre-market high, or our VWAP, or our 20 SMA, right? So this move is actually broken down in two sections: over our daily 10 into our daily 5, and then below our daily 10 we have pre-market lows and we have VWAP. So we've got two sections there. Now, once I started to see this candle right here start to confirm the lows of this channel, I took this short for 15 points. Okay, so got out long before the lows. Wish that I could stomach holding that a little bit. But again, as I was kind of going over with people on this morning's Evolution Traders live stream, we do live trading Monday through Friday. What I was trying to explain is when you get very, very big ranges and the market's got a lot of volatility where it's going up and going down, one of the best things that you could probably do is just take small take profits, right? Because it seems in hindsight that it's very easy to kind of sit back and just catch the whole move. But when you're actually in those trades, it's a lot harder than it looks, right? When you're going back and doing the back testing. Now, staying with the trend is very evident once you get back over VWAP, once you get back over this 20 SMA. And the reason why I say it's evident, because if you look at this previous swing low from the pre-market, we actually come down and tag it, and then price immediately bounces. So you've got this lower range here, this channel, that if price is not trading in this channel or below this channel, it's almost safe to say, yes, this is a big range, right? You're looking at a 50, 75 point range. But if you get any following setups that are long, you're wanting to lean into those long setups, okay? You're not wanting to go against the trend. So you can see I've got a little bit of a trade here. Oh, and now in the extended hours, we just reset here the charts because the market's going to reopen back up. But let's just scroll back. If we look at the charts, and let's go on our 15-minute too as well. If you look at this trend line that I drew here, this trend line, we had a little bit of a pop. We pulled back into the 20 SMA. Here's a flag pattern that you could play into the high of day. And if you kind of look right here, here's another new high followed by a pullback. And here's another trend line. Here's another trend line. Here's another trend line. Here's another trend line. Here's a trend line that happened even before the trade that I took. Now, this is going to help you stay with the trend. My biggest advice, if you want to try to find a trend when the market feels like it's chopping, but it's not making new lows and the market's kind of chopping and going a little bit higher each time, start to look for these flags, okay? Start to look for these flags. Now I use the 5-minute time frame, look for periods of consolidation, look for back test. I like to also look at the 20 SMA as an area to back test. So the 20 SMA for me here is the white line. Look at the back test here on the 20 SMA. The back test here on the 20 SMA. Look at the back test on the 20 SMA here. We lost this one, and look at the back test on the 20 SMA here. Each time we were pulling back into the 20 SMA, we were failing to close below a prior swing low, failing to close below a prior swing low, failing to close below a prior swing low. So when you really start to think about these lows that are getting put in, it is constantly putting in these higher lows. If you start to look at trend line breaks, the flag breaks, it is constantly making a new high, right? Constantly making a new high. So that's one way that you can stick with the trend. Use a moving average. For me, it's the 20 SMA. Using the 20 SMA helps me kind of stay with that price action. But all in all, when you get a big move up and you get a big move down and you've kind of had this initial range sort of settle in, right? We've had that initial range start to settle in. I would start to look for pullbacks. If the market is holding lows, start to look for pullbacks that you can use these little trend line breaks, okay? Or you start to use a moving average to see if you can get a better price down in these areas closer to that trend line. That's one way that you can kind of stay with the trend. It's something that's helped me. Again, in real time, it's very, very hard to kind of decipher if you're not really looking for it or know what to look for. That's one thing good about trading with a group in the community at Evolution Traders. We got a lot of traders that are throwing around ideas, and we can help each other stay on top of things, maybe help you avoid taking a few losses that you don't necessarily need to take. If you guys are interested in joining Evolution Traders, that link is down in the description box below. I offer 2 options, a free option that's got a lot of educational content as well as chat intraday, and then I do also offer gold members. It's $25 a month, and that includes live trading Monday through Friday. With that being said, I'll see all of you guys on the inside. To everyone else, make sure to leave me a comment and let me know how you guys did today, and I'll see all of you guys on the next video.